Hello there, it's the Wait Show. My name is Wole. Terribly sorry we're coming to you late today. This is just because we had to, so to say, drag our special guests, out of some very interesting exhibition all the way in the United States. We've got a guest today who, despite his very extremely busy schedule, has given his time to come on this show. It shows that we're probably doing something right, right? Okay, all right. Anyway, I would obviously just get you to meet our guest in a second. All right. This is the Way Show. My name is Wale. First time, if it's the first time you watching this show, please subscribe to the show. If you haven't in the past, you've watched us in the past, do remember to subscribe and please like all our previous videos. Okay. So today, well, it's 5 days to Christmas already. It's been rough, this 2020, but we still got every reasons to be thankful. Yeah, it's 5 days to Christmas. You've got my Christmas tree right behind me, and in the Christmas mood. Okay, so today we've got the one and only, the award-winning, uh, um, you know, someone who has given his time to come to this show. Like I said, we must be doing something a bit right for him to come out of his busy schedule to come here and be with us on this show. He's a visual artist, he's a writer, he's a photographer, he's a man of many titles. All right. Welcome, Victor Ehikhamenor.
Thank you.
It's so nice to be. I'm so delighted to talk to you today, Victor.
Thank you,
It's
Wale.
and thank you for taking your time. I mean, very busy. You've traveled all the way from Vegas to where you are today, and you are preparing for another journey. But you've taken your time to come on our show. We're thankful. Thank you so much, Victor, for
Thank you,
coming
Wale.
on the show. Yeah,
Thank you
it's so
for
nice to
sharing.
see you. Um,
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
yeah, Victor. There's so many things to talk about, but let me just quickly dive into this. You recently you come from a very recent exhibition.
Yeah.
Neon. We were talking about this backstage before we obviously started the show. Can you tell us
Mhm.
what this is all about? What was the exhibition all about? Is this something totally new to you, or is this something you've been doing in the past?
Um. Well, thank you, everybody, wherever you're watching from. So thank you, Wale and Yomi, for bringing me on your show. I mean, me and Yomi go way back. So we used to
Yeah.
we used to work together in the same establishment in Lagos. So next newspaper. But to come back to your question, it's new. I mean, like I've been the artist in residence at the Neo Museum in Las Vegas for the past 8 weeks. 2 weeks of that was done virtually, but the physical presence there to create new works as part of the program. If you are chosen, they choose only one resident a year, one resident artist a year. So I happen to be the 2021 this year, and so I had to go there and interface with what they have in their archive, what they have already have in their museum, and based off of that, I have to create my own body of work. So based on neon as well. And like you asked if it was the first time. Yes, this is the first time I'm working with the medium neon, which is light. It goes through a lot of processes and all of that, but luckily enough for me, I had a very robust resources that was open to me, that made it almost seamless, even though there was a lot of hard work behind the scene. So to work with this new medium of light has been very exciting, to say the least. In the past 6 weeks, so it just got concluded last night, and I'm back in the East Coast now. So I'm back to Maryland in the DC area. So yeah.
And well, like I said again, we're totally delighted that out of this busy schedule,
Thank you.
proper busy man you are, you've decided to turn up to our show today.
Thank
Victor,
you. Mhm.
you doing my research on you and your skills. Largely, you were self-taught to be
Mhm.
an artist.
Yeah.
How did you go into the arts? And so I mean, you are virtually known all over the world. I mean, I remember when I was in secondary school and I was really so bad in art. My art teacher would always smack me, definitely. I was really bad. So there was nothing like self-taught. Even if you decide to teach me from today, right till 2025, forget about it. I will be rubbish in it. So how did you fall in love with the arts? And was it passion or what?
I would say it starts with passion, or is part of my DNA structure, like I always DNA design. But I'm a bit leery of the word of self-taught because it negates the fact that we only have to be taught from the Western perspective of education in the arts, which is not how we are used to back home, you understand, So, or that is not how it has always been, you understand, because that is also to say, okay, if we are to dig a little bit deeper, who taught the people that were wood carvers or the bronze makers or the ivory carvers? Who taught those ones? Are they? So the word self-taught is a bit for a Nigerian and for an African, for a Benin person or somebody from Ife, from the hotspots of what you call the art hubs in Nigeria, So that word, I used to probably use it, but I'm a bit careful how I use the word self-taught now, because we have people in the community that we watched, if they see your interest and they say, okay, this is how you do it, this is how you do it, and you can apprentice under somebody, you understand. You could be that you walk into a blacksmith's studio or workshop and he says, okay, you have to help me blow the bellows, like you help, so or you have older kids that know how to carve a mask, or you have other people that know how to draw, So a lot of the women in the community that I grew up in, they were artists, So you watch them draw on the walls of their houses during festival. You watch them add on their body with body paints and body tattoos, like temporary tattoos. And of course, in the Igbo land, you have what is called the Uli traditional art, So in that sense, I would say that I was taught by the community, not necessarily self-taught, but the interest was there, the love was there from when I was 4, So based on that, I consumed what I had in my society, I consumed what I had in my community and in my village, and a lot of people encouraged that whole interest in the art, So, but it needed a lot of, like as I grew older and educated, got what you call education on other fields that I've worked in and I do. I began to now read on what had come before me, like the art books, art history, Nigerian art history, African art history, world art history, and stuff like that, So in that way, they are like assignment you give to yourself. So I mean, if you want to call that self-taught, then that is fine, but that is catching up with history, So so that is the whole not in a nutshell, that is how I became an artist, So
What is it about Africans, especially, let me just say Nigerians now and the arts, because it's really and where I'm going, I'm at the end of the day, I'm going to end up somewhere, but
yeah.
The Benins, the people from Ife, the knock culture, the obviously, and the other ones. There seems to be, just like you said, they were educated in their own way. Okay,
Yeah.
they were not educated in a Western way, but they were able to showcase their education, and we are um, hundreds of years after that. We're still learning. How did they make that? What is it so special about the arts of back in the days, the culture of back in the days, that today we are still sitting down and we're sitting in awe and we're still wondering, how on earth do they do that?
Well, it's something I wonder about as well, but I know that we are quite meticulous people when it comes to the art. We have to realize that art for us is not something that is distant from our daily living. Okay, maybe for the Western world, is something that you have to go to a museum before you engage with art. You have to go to a theater before you can see a play. You have to go to a museum before you can see works that are done. But if you grew up in a typical Nigerian society, I use Africa very very carefully, because I mean, it's a continent, you understand, you know. So if you go to any part of the of African community, you realize that art is everyday life. You understand what I'm saying? You know, in the evening there are dancers, in the afternoon there are performance. You know, so you have a minstrel that is singing along the road. You know, you have somebody that is going to work and he's whistling and singing and just putting on a performance and doing his work. Then you have the festivals. Then you have to create costumes for the festivals, right? And you have to like create masks for what you believe in. You understand? We have totems, okay? So we have blacksmiths, we have goldsmiths, we have all of these guys, because art for us is a way of life, okay? It's a daily life. It's like drinking water. You understand what I'm saying? And nothing has to be really basic, okay? So if you come to Edo or come to Benin, and a door is not just a door. That door has to be carved. That door has to be adorned. You understand? You know, so we use art as a form of expression more than, oh, you just have to see it and all of those things. So it's all divided. So you have the experiential aspect of art, right? So which is the performance, which is like the festivals, okay? So that is more immersive, you understand? You have to go to a particular place, maybe you go to a grove to experience it and feel the ambience, okay? Then the daily one, the cups, the mugs, the earthenware that we use in cooking, they are all decorated, they are all done add-on. If you go to a chief's house in front of, so the ways that we consumed art in before the arrival of colonialism, and even after a little bit afterwards, before we started destroying what we had, it was quite potent, you know. So, but I think colonialism took an axe to what we believed in they didn't understand. They understood it because they knew it was very potent, and they went after that, you know. So in decimating that whole thing and changing the belief of a whole lot of our people to begin to demonize their works, you understand, you know. So whereas they took the ones that they can take, but they tell you that the ones that they couldn't take are really like bad, you know, like, oh, how can you look at this? Why would you carve something like that, you know? So in that case, I still stand whenever I encounter like some of our works dating centuries. You know, I mean, like, how did they do this? How did they worked with like really hard materials, you know? So these are not things that are easy to carve into, like rocks, like maybe the Shona stones. How did you carve into stones? Where were the tools from? The bronze casting that has been there in the Benin Empire for the longest time is still ongoing till right now. You know, I've made some of my bronze works from the historic Igun Street in Benin City, you know. So I think it's something that is worth revisiting again as much as possible and all of that, you know. So, yeah.
Victor, I'm glad you mentioned about the colonialists, obviously. And when you talk about that and the destruction that followed them wherever they went in Africa, and indeed, now again, I want to zero in on Nigeria. Think about the 1897 and the thievery, I will call it, what happened in ancient Benin, mighty Benin Kingdom. And then you go to the London Museum and you stand face to face with your identity. Okay, you're looking at your identity, you're looking at your culture, you're looking at your tradition, and you feel it feels very daunting and very surreal, especially when you go there with your children, you know, and you go there, you're pointing to the artwork, the Idea Bronze said, and you're saying that is from where I come from, and they're wondering why is it here then? If it's from where you come from, why is it here? How do you feel as an artist, you know, when you go to these museums and you see stuff of your ancestors, of your forebearers in a cage, so to say, in a glass cage, sitting there? How do you feel as an artist?
I mean, oftentimes it's a mixed feeling. First of all, I have to be sure of the provenance, because is that provenance checkered? You know, like, how were these things taken? Were they stolen? Were they war bullets? You understand, to put it that way? Were they the people that these things were taken from? What was the negotiation before this thing was taken? You know, so just a quick correction. Yomi, you can leave what is on right now on the screen if the public is seeing it. So these are not my works, but they are part of a relay gallery in Lagos, where Tonia Ineji, who is a very strong young female artist, is currently having an exhibition. So the works that you are seeing right now are by Tonia, the ones on the red walls. Okay, so they are by Tonia Ineji, a very fantastic, wonderful painter that is in Lagos, that is currently showing at Relay Gallery right now. So just to clarify that, so just in case people are seeing that and watching that, okay? So anyway, so to come back to how I feel, it's a mixed feeling to see these works, because especially when you're talking those Benin bronzes in the British Museum, or the Idia mask that is there and all of that, you have to realize that those things were taken under very unsavory condition, you know. So that can't possibly make you happy, because you know a lot of people lost their lives based on the fact that the British Empire were more interested in taking those works than kind of developing a place that they came to pretty much take everything from natural resources to mermaids, you know. So it has a very, you can't but feel quite sad about it and all of those things. But I'm glad that we're having those conversations now on how do we go about receiving them, giving them proper display and where they belong, like return them to where they belong, you know. So, but I'm also very quick to say that we are not saying every single work that you meet in the Western Museum should be returned to Africa, because some of them were acquired properly, you understand, you know. So I mean, of course, there is cultural dialogue between the continent of Africa and the rest of the world, you know. So that's not what we are saying. We are having a conversation about we had our own Holocaust, okay? So let's talk about that, because when you are saying return the works that were stolen by the Nazis, you are not saying return every work that is in Germany, right? Because some of them are acquired properly. There's a good provenance for it. People paid money for it and all of those things. But the ones that were stolen during the Second World War by the Nazis, they are hunted down and they are returned. Anywhere they see them, they figure out who owned it, who were the original owners, and they take them back to them. So that is the same conversation. That is the same energy we want people to bring into when we say, oh, the Benin massacre of 1897, these works were taken by the British soldiers during that war. Let's have that same energy. Let's bring in that same energy to make sure that they are returned without much having to like go like, oh no, where are they going? Oh, how can we return them and all of those things? You guys, they have a blueprint of doing these things. You understand? Let's follow that blueprint. Let's put it that way.
And Yomi was just rolling some of those neon
This is
yeah. So could you just let us know about some of those arts? What actually happens? How did you come about? It's because it's very intriguing. People out there, people watching will be like, all I see is lights, you know. I see a rainbow of lights, different colors.
Yeah.
So what is the message behind that one, and how much effort and how did that come about?
I'm one of those artists that like playing with materials, you know. So I'm one of those that is also like sending a message to the world that we can do all these things, because I mean sometimes you see them outside the country, like, oh, this is not possible where we are coming from. But when you have the right opportunity and the right environment, we can pretty much hold our own or even higher, you understand, in the art world, you know. So when I had the opportunity of working with neon in the Neon Museum, so I pretty much like went through the whole process. I mean, they showed me where the neons are bent. So this is from a drawing, you know. So I presented the drawing before the neon bender and the company that where neon signs are made for a lot of the big companies in Las Vegas, you know. So and we worked on it together. I worked on this with a guy called Oscar, who is a master neon bender, you know. So he was really excited to see the drawings because he could relate to some of my signs and symbols because he's from Mexico, you know. So, and he was overexcited to, like, he was feeling something and he was relating with it on a very in a deeper way than a normal person would have, or a normal, probably like a normal Westerner would have reacted to it. So based on that, he really took his time out to work with me and make sure that we're able to realize that this particular piece that was on this thing. It's about 300 pounds. That is the weight of it. Is 6 feet, it's 6 feet high, and about 4 feet wide, you know. So it's quite heavy, you know.
And how long did it take you to do that?
It took us about 3 weeks of him stopping everything. Like, he couldn't do much work again. And I'm grateful to the place where it was made is called Hartlauer Science. And the director and the owner all came on board. It's a huge company, but when they saw what we're about to do, they stopped everything and really, like, we are really into it to see how it can be achieved, and you know, so, and we were able to pull it off, you know. So other normal circumstances would take much longer, but because of the excitement in the place, they stopped everything that they were doing, and they were like, we have to achieve this before the open studio, which was on the 17th, you know, about a few days back now, you know. So we were able to finish it, and you know, the other pieces also have neon on them. There are other larger canvases that also have neons on them because I needed to interact. So those neon that you see on the other canvas are just like strips of neon dropped on the canvas, which is also the first time I'm doing that. These ones are much older. It's just like going to somewhere to, like, they are being repurposed. They were part of a bigger series before somewhere, maybe part of a sign, designs for a hotel, an establishment. But because those companies have been discontinued, we took those things and gave them a new life, which is to say that art can give new life to things that have been in existence before, you know. So that was my point in using those other ones. But the main one, which is called Harvesting Dreams with my brother, Harvesting Dreams and Fireflies with my brother, that one was done from the scratch, from a drawing.
Wow. And when I was again researching about you, it said, and I proudly read this out. Undeniably one of Africa's most innovative contemporary artists, and one of the 42 African innovators to watch. You've represented Nigeria in Venice Biennale. That was the first time a Nigerian would actually represent Nigeria in that event.
Yeah.
How did that event go for you? And, you know, being the first, and Nigeria's been a country that produced top artists.
Yeah.
We're the first ever to represent Nigeria. What was
it
feeling like?
It was a teamwork, because we represented Nigeria for the first time, which is the first time we appeared at the Venice Biennale, which is known as the Olympic of the art world, you know. So, but it wasn't just me, you know. It was curated by Dinrele Shonariwo, whose gallery you showed earlier a little bit that I was talking about. She curated it with Ima Iduma, who is a writer and art critic as well in Nigeria, young Nigerian. These are like in their, Ima was in his 20s then. I don't even know if he's up to 30 now. Dinrele, of course, was also in her 20s then, you know. So these are really young people. Then you have myself, you have Peju Alatishe, who is also an artist and a sculptor, you know, like, you know, very eclectic artist. Then you have Kudus Onikeku, who is a dancer and a choreographer, you know, so who has the Q dance. So this was a collection of really, you know, Nigerians that believe in the country, Nigerians that believe that we have a say in the world of art, you know. So it was a great team effort. It was a great teamwork, you know. So, and it was then also the commissioner of because you have to have a commissioner, somebody that is in government, you know. So the commissioner was Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State, you know. So it was I would say it was personally was rewarding, so, and also Nigerian has a mark there that we have been able to pull this off, because you have to realize that a year, the one before the 2017 happens every 2 years. The 2015 one was curated by Okwe Ewenzo, and Okwe, God bless his soul now, Okwe was the first African to curate the entire Venice Biennale, and we are talking about a tradition of 100 and something years, if I'm not mistaken, about 102 or more, that tradition has been ongoing. And to have the first African curated, to have the first Nigerian curated, was also a very great thing that happened in 2015. And 2 years later, Nigeria made its debut appearance. So yeah, it would be. It's something I'm quite happy about. I'm still very happy about it when I reminisce over it. It wasn't the easiest thing to do because of the lack of governmental support in some of these things that Nigerian citizens and their individuals do. So yeah, I'm proud of those that helped, that contributed, and especially the artists that were able to pull it off, and the curators that handled it.
I was going to come to the question of, well, how much support you've been having from the Nigerian government, because as far as we're concerned, you're an ambassador at large. You're not. Although you might not have been given a task by the government of the country, you are representing Nigeria everywhere you go. First and foremost, as people look at your name and they, oh, he's the Nigerian. All right, you are re-educating people's vision or way of looking at a Nigerian. Your artwork are in Dubai, they are in France, they are in Italy, they're in America. So how come you're not getting that necessary support from the government? Or are you getting necessary support from the government?
It's not just me as an artist. I mean, as citizens of Nigeria getting the support they are supposed to get from an artist, from the government. So let's not go political today. It's Sunday. Yep. Because if we go that route today, we're not going to necessarily talk about art, but
exactly.
I mean, like, again, it's one of those things that you just kind of like you have given up on them and all of that, because I mean, a country that doesn't even have a separate ministry for arts and culture, and yet you have this vibrant demography that are doing great stuff right now around the world. I'm not even talking about myself. Look at the young generation in Nigeria. Look at the young ones, the 20s to like the early 30s. Look at what they're doing. They are photographing for Vogue. They are doing great shows in the country and all of that. And yet we don't even have a proper ministry that is dedicated to it, because I mean, for all I know, that whole Ministry of Information and Arts and Culture, it's not, that is not what I would have loved to see, because for a country that has been producing things, there's no museum in the world that you go to that you don't see a piece of Nigerian art. You understand what I'm saying? So
sure.
We don't have that. I'm hoping that future government will make a better effort, not just knee-jerk reaction of, oh, let's give 500 billion to Nollywood today, oh, let's give 100 million to creatives tomorrow. No, I mean, like, this money have been shredded, So if you ask me, even if they are releasing them and all of those things, I talk about government recognizing me. No, I'm okay. I'm comfortable with the people and the generation, my own generation. I'm comfortable with them, So we recognize each other, and I think that matters more than any government that doesn't even understand art telling you that, oh, we recognize you because they just want to like have photo ops, So no, I don't give a crap about that, really. So let's see how we can fix the country. Let's see how we can give the country a better name, because there's nothing that kind of clean up a country more than creative. You understand? You see what Hollywood has done for America. They give you a certain perception. You understand? Whether you like it or not, they shape the way you look at an American. Oh, cowboy. You understand? So every time you see this thing, so Mission Impossible. You understand? So these are mind shaping situations. Okay, so you don't need to pay a PR agency to brand your country for you, really. I mean, the country, when you pay attention to the arts and the creatives and the great stuff that are coming out from that country, you know that you pay attention to them, have a proper ministry for them, do the things that are supposed to be done in that industry, then you'll be hearing more about Nigerians doing great things that you are hearing more about 419 that the Western media would want to put forward first. Okay, because sometimes even if they want to report about good things, they'll put the bad thing first. Once you taste something bad, it's like buying an apple. If you taste a bad apple, the entire bunch, no matter how good they are, you are suspicious of every single thing at the bottom of that cart. Okay, so we have to figure out a way how to begin to change that narrative. We are not saying it's all well back home. We are not saying that everything is, look at the NSAS that just happened. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so it cannot be that we are not painting a glorious picture, but we are just saying, look, we can even use this art form to like tell the world what is going on, you know. So yeah.
We're going to go on a quick short break, Victor, and when we come back, I just want us to touch on your other love, passion, and that's cover design for books. Okay, so we're going to go on a short break, and we come back and talk about that.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's still the Way Show. My name is still Wole, and we've been having a chat, a very interesting chat, with Victor Ehikhamenor, who is, again, I dare say this, undeniably one of Africa's most innovative contemporary artists. It's been a pleasure talking to Victor. And Victor, we're just talking about your other passion, and that's this book covers design. When did you decide to say, all right, yeah, I think I probably will give this a go? And you've designed some very beautiful for some very beautiful writers. Chimamanda Adichie comes to mind, obviously, the Americana, Half of the Yellow Sun. There's Chris Abani, quite a lot of people that you've designed for. And again, not a lot of people know this other side of you, that this man also, apart from all the bronzer tees, the neon stuff, he also designed book covers. So tell us about when you started moving into that direction and how it's been for you doing that.
Thank you, Wole. That was a bit accidental. I mean, like, I've been designing stuff right from, I went to Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, just to give a shout out to the school there that we do great stuff. So if you went to Ekpoma, you're watching this, so I'm an Ekpoma boy, So but when I entered school, because I was really in love with art, so but I read English and literature, So my first degree in Ekpoma, I joined the newspaper, the campus magazines, all of them. The first time I entered, I just joined them, So by year 2, I became the chief cartoonist for Fang magazine, Paramount magazines, and I was now designing the the cover for they were weekly, you understand? They were students, you cyclostyle them and all of that. It was a weekly newspaper, I would do cartoons and all of it. So but coming to the book designs, it was just really something accidental. You have to realize I also have my writing background. So all those people you mentioned are actually my friends, in the sense that we talk about literature, we have met on literary platform and forums. These are close friends. I would say that I have more friends in the writing world than actually even in the art world. Let's put it that way, So when Chika was doing her PhD, Chika Onigwe is also a writer who is based in the US now, but she was in Belgium. When she was doing her PhD, before she wanted to prep, so the writers know that I'm also an artist, so which is why they like, oh, so she emailed me back then. I can't even remember now. It's been a long time now. Like we're talking almost more than 20 years or about now. That she would like to use one of my artwork for the cover of her thesis, her final thesis to present. I was like, oh yeah, go ahead for it and everything. Then from there, Udomi-Uwessan, who is also a writer and and also helped in editing my first collection of poetry, also was like, oh, I would like to use one of your works for the cover of my book, our first novel, So I was like, sure. So from there, all kinds of requests just started coming, because I can read the book and understand and all of that. It just kind of, then in 2004, when the Purple Hibiscus was getting released in Nigeria, Chimamanda, who is also a friend, insisted that they must use one of my works, for the Nigerian edition of Purple Hibiscus, So anyway, from there, different, like Chris Abani, like you said, Helen Habila, other parts of the world and all of those things. But I also have to quickly remind people that this is a tradition that was ongoing in the 60s. Because when you look at Things Fall Apart, there was a lot of illustration in that book, but people don't pay attention to that, except you're an artist. You realize that Uche Okeke, who is one of the modernists, bless his soul again, is the guy that illustrated that entire book. Okay, then you have Demas Nwoko as well, who is still very much alive, illustrating books and doing book covers. So when you look at the Mbari Club of the 60s, there was this convergence of artists and writers that is really hard to see these days. When you look at the books that came out from that period and that era, from the Mbari publication, which was based in Ibadan, and I think a little bit of it in Oshogbo, and that whole as is there by Ulibea and co. So they brought artists together like, like Bruce Onabrakpaye, we illustrate the writings of this person, maybe Obiora, not Obiora, because I haven't seen anyone that was done by Obiora Dechuku, but mostly Uche Okeke, Bruce Onabrakpaye, that whole, those whole graduates of the late 50s and what you call the Zaria rebels, you understand, that went to the first art academy in Zaria, in what you have today as the Ahmadu Bello University. So I have been collecting those really old to realize that, oh my God, look at this, look at what they were doing. So that I happen to be a writer and artist at the same time. So we were able to do, there was no meeting ground anymore, like what you call the Umbari or somebody that is championing that, bringing artists and writers together. I happen to have straddled both worlds to know that, okay, this is a possibility, and we have this conversation and all of that, So that is how they started pouring in. Then foreign publications and all of that also started making requests for me to give them. So it's not every cover that I designed. Some of them I just license, give the permission for them to use my art for the cover, and they can use an in-house graphic designer or book cover designer, but some of them I designed from my studio, you understand, So yeah, like the Buche Mecheta series, they were all designed from my studio, because all of the books were re-released, so I had to like redesign all the covers that were done in the when they were first published and released, So it's exciting to do. It gives you opportunity to have a first look at people's books that are about to be published, So yeah, it's also an honor when writers tell you that they want you to. It's like you're getting married and you choose a tailor that is going to make your suit, or a woman choosing a designer that will make her wedding gown, So I think that is the kind of feeling it gives, So there are some I really don't feel like doing, So it's just that, So yeah.
Hopefully, you feel like doing mine when I decide to write a book about this encounter between me and yourself.
Hopefully, Yomi will be the middleman between us.
So, Victor, again, you talked about the design, and I know a lot of, well, maybe some of us in the journalism world will know at one point in time you were a design director for probably one of the best newspapers at that time, 234 Next.
Mm-hmm.
How was it for you, especially when the newspaper, it was obviously the talk of the town that time, and quite a lot of people were like very interested in their own brand of journalism, which was fresh at that time. And then suddenly they were out of the market. How was that for you guys? Particularly those of you who were like pioneers of new brand of journalism.
Again, one was next for me is one of those very beautiful moments for me as an adult, So, and I will forever be grateful for that opportunity to come back to Nigeria, because Next brought me back to Nigeria after having lived abroad for the longest time, So, and reintroduced me to my country that I left, and also giving me the opportunity to meet a whole lot of other Nigerians that are really like amazing crop of people that Dele Olojede was able to put together with Ama Ogan, who is the wife. So you are looking at veteran journalists that I read when I was I would say as a teenager, So I read Dele in Daily Time, and not Daily Times, in Newswatch, because it was Dele Giwa was Dele Olojede's boss. You understand? So when Dele Giwa was assassinated in '86, then that whole it kind of shifted that era and all of those things. And of course, what introduced me to language and reading and really like seeing journalism in a very beautiful way was, of course, Newswatch, and eventually some of the journalism that came out in the mid 80s to like late 80s, you understand, So to have had that opportunity to now work with him, and he's also one of the, I think he's actually the only or the first to win a Pulitzer Prize on journalism from the continent, you understand, So, and of course, Ama Ogan, who is the wife, was also the first seminar editor, first female seminar editor in the 80s with I think with Guardian or something like that, So I read them when I was a kid. So to now be in the same space with them, I'm a student of learning from those people, and just like learn from them, consume what they've learned. For them to have achieved what they achieved, they didn't do it by being mediocres. So it would have been stupid of me not to have go close to them and actually learn a lot from them and all of that. So when I was hired to be the creative director of Next, I was coming from a background, total background of I've never worked in a newspaper house before. I've never designed newspaper before, but I was lucky to have a good mentor who is Mario Garcia, who is a renowned world newspaper media designer. So I learned under him, learned quickly, and he taught me all the ropes and everything. So we brought that whole energy into Next. And again, you are looking at when you're able to harness a certain generation, when you're able to harness the energy of our people. A lot of the guys that worked at Next were young. They weren't journalists, because the model that Dele used was to go to universities and find young men, vibrant men, and gave them training. Okay, so we started, because very soon now, on the 28th of this month, will be the first day. I don't know how many people keep these dates that worked at Nest, but I remember 28th, 28th, maybe Yomi will remember because he was in IT department. 28th of December 2008 was when 234 Next launched for the first time, going live online. Okay, so we're one of the very first media houses to we break the news through SMS. As the news is developing, we put a short, brief one online. Before you know what is happening, there is a full download of it. Like we were that, you understand, So that whole design, that whole brand, that whole look and feel, it was everyday canvas for me up until we released the actual newspaper on the 4th of January 2009, because I remember that Christmas 2008, New Year of 2009, I was in the newsroom. 72 hours of endless design, of not stopping, because we needed to birth that paper on the 4th of January. And we finished designing on the Thursday. We sent it to London on Friday, gets printed in London, come back to Nigeria on Saturday, we distribute on Sunday. So you can imagine the pressure cooker back then. So it was like a military operation, and I was very excited about that whole energy in the room, and everybody we were because Yomi can tell you the kind of energy that we were having. You have people like Molara Wood, you have great people, So it was fun, and for me, though I was working, and I had an amazing staff under my care that I was managing. It was like I was in school, because I was learning again. This was great. So for me, it lasted maybe 3 to 4 years. So that was an extra degree for me. I always look at it from that perspective, because I know people get really sad about the whole thing and all of that, but my own resolution about Next is that there are things that come for a purpose, they serve that purpose, and they move on. Okay, I don't know where Next would be if we are still in existence today. I don't know if I will still even be working at Next. I can tell you for a fact, if Next was still existing, I probably wouldn't be the artist that I am today. A lot of other people probably wouldn't have the opportunity to go and do the things that they are doing, basing their own knowledge and all of that. This conversation we're having will not happen, because Yomi probably will be in the newsroom. Okay, so whenever anybody is saying, oh, it ended and everything, I'm like, yes, so it came, sowed seeds. And look at almost everybody that worked for Nest that really pay attention to what is happening or what was happening in the newsroom then, and really came to work and put their mind and soul and spirit to it. They have all gone to soar in their own various career. There's hardly before you meet anybody that has worked at Nest that is yeah, let's put it that way. The managing editor just opened a radio station in Lagos. Okay, so I can count on and on and on and on and on. You understand, So it was a good place to learn, to train, and all of that. Yes, of course, it's sad because Nigeria happened to it, but we had great moments. I have no regrets whatsoever. I look back, friends that I made at Nest, we are still a very close-knit family. It was like campus, Okay, so you meet your old schoolmates, we can still chat with each other, we can be having private jokes on Twitter, and nobody will even know what we're talking about, So it's it's really amazing, So, and I can tell you, because of Next, that I will be having even this conversation today, because that's how we were at Next. Yomi say, oh, I need you to appear on this program. I'm like, okay, dude, let's just work out some time, and so yeah, here I am, and even though I'm not as tired as anything, but that's what we do for each other still, So yeah.
Thank you for that, Victor. Victor, as we round up, your way of designing and your art, the way you plan it, is very symbolic. Sometimes politically motivated, sometimes with large emphasis on traditional African belief, modified with Western culture. What's your inspiration? What inspires you to do designs, to do your arts, to do your bronze arts and what have you? What inspires you?
I always say this: life is inspiring. Life is inspiring, like the fact that we can have this conversation is inspiring. I'm seeing colors behind you, you understand, so I mean, I could consume that, but it's Christmas tree behind you. For me, I'm breaking down the colors and seeing the color combinations of it and all of those things, so, but as an artist, you have to mirror the society, you understand, sometimes, oftentimes, it's what we have consumed today that we are going to like express tomorrow, or what we have read about what has happened before. I happen to be lucky enough to have people that came before me that are great, that I have had access to, that I have read about, that I have consumed their work. And again, I have great elders on whose shoulders I stand to look at the world from, so my inspirations come from different artists that have existed before me, and even the ones that are operating right now, and all of those things, so we have to always look at our own. We can't constantly just think that whatever is happening right now is the best and thing that has ever happened to us. We have to look back at what did our fathers do? What did our mothers do? How did they create the things that they created? For Christ's sake, people created the pyramid, okay? So people created the Benin moats, okay? So earth were being moved, like there were street lights that were created as at the time, you understand, so, and yes, it's not to constantly drag the past, but at every given time, we must hold the colonialists to ransom for what they did, because they broke that bridge. You understand what I'm saying? They stopped the thought process, you understand? So it's like you're going to Liverpool, you're driving to Liverpool, and somebody gave you the wrong map and telling you, oh, you are going to Liverpool, oh, follow the left-hand side. Meanwhile, you were very sure of the right-hand side, and the person has blocked where you were supposed to follow to get to Liverpool and giving you a run around. And you end up generations upon generations upon generations just driving around in M15 or whatever you guys have in UK or London and not getting to your destination. So I think what my generation is doing is to create newer roads as much as possible. Instead of looking for that road to greatness in the continent, I think we need to create new roads for ourselves, create a new road for our generations to come, and begin to redefine how we look at leadership in the continent, because that has also become a very problematic situation. It has never not been, because also the leadership structure was heavily decimated, you understand, whereby you give the totems of power to an acolyte, taking it from a chief, so, and there's bound to be problem in that situation, So anyway, again, no politics today.
Yeah. What's for the arts in Nigeria or in Africa? What's the future for arts in Africa and Nigeria especially? Do we have? You've mentioned some very dynamic young ones coming up. What's the future for them? Are we going to see in the next 100, 200, 300, 500 years? Well, if time permits us to exist at that time, would the children that will come in those years, would they be able to sit back and have a look, just as we are having a look at the Benin, parts, magnificent ones, the Ife ones, the Nok ones, be able to sit back and say, wow, this was what our ancestors did?
Of course.
Would you see that happening?
Of course, there's no two ways about it. It's a cycle of life. You have to remember that. You understand? We don't exist in a vacuum. You understand? We don't, because I mean, generations to come will look at it. That's why if you are true to yourself, if what you are creating, you are really excited about it, and you're bringing in the whole bringing in the A game into what you are creating today, and you do not receive the accolade or the recognition that you feel you should recognize about it, don't worry, because that work is being created for a certain generation that might not be today. Okay, so how do we know that these things that we are clamoring for right now, for British Museum to bring back, for the Mets to bring back, and all of those things, there were people that walked past them in the Gun Street back in the days, But here we are 100 years later, 200 years later, 500 years later, we're talking about them, okay? So we're talking about the Nok culture right now, okay? We're talking about Igboku, you know, so we're talking about these great things that were made. A great work that is made is never lost. It stands the test of time. People that will appreciate it will come and all of those things. Trust me, there are people that you are doing things with right now that they can't say it because they are not meant to. So just do what you're doing. The future will take care of the future.
Wise words from a very wise man.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
so much. Thank you so much. You know, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you, and I hope we actually thought we had enough time. When I say enough time, but you need to go rest, Victor.
Sometimes in the future. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Wole. And thanks to
Honestly,
you.
it's
a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and good luck with everything. I
All
hope
right,
to see you soon.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much. Have a beautiful one.
And
All
you
right.
too. Take
Bye.
care. Take care, bro.
Bye.
So that was, wow, very interesting. Victor Ehikhamenor. He is an artist. He is a writer. He is a poet. Um, as you can, well, obviously you heard that. I probably would say he's also an activist. So, well, it was so nice having Victor here to talk today about beautiful art and all that. You know, out of his busy time, he's just come back from an exhibition and he's taking time to be on the Way show. Okay, thank you so much, Victor, for coming on the show. Before we leave, we'll just take this quick break, and yeah, it's not a break really. So listen, we're giving away something next week. Okay, so if it's all about, you know, this time of the year. I mean, it's time to give. It's always lovely to give. So we're giving you an opportunity to showcase and to tell us what Christmas means to you. So what you need to do is just pretty much straightforward. Create a video no less than 3 minutes, okay? And stating what Christmas means to you. It could be funny, but just be creative about it, all right? And you stand a chance to win 27,000 naira in naira on the 27th of December. Okay, all you need to do is just follow us on Instagram and obviously subscribe to the show that you're watching now, and tell your friends and your family, because they'll be voting for you. All right, we're not going to be picking up the best video. Your friends, your family, your fans will be voting for it on the show. Okay, so next week, all you need to do, follow us on Instagram, you know, and create a video, DM us on Instagram on Instagram handle, and obviously watch the show. Okay, and subscribe to our channel, and yeah, the video with the highest number of likes will definitely be going on with 27,000 naira. And obviously, we still have some more other stuff you can win. We go airtime for your mobile phones, so you'll be winning that also. So don't forget about it. All right, 27,000 and 27th of December. If you want to know more about this, more details, it's on our Instagram page. Okay, so just yeah, just 3 minutes. And you could be this time next week. You could be, you know, going on with 27,000 naira. So it's all about Christmas, and it's all about you sharing your story. It's all about you. All right. So that's the edition for today. It's been really wonderful talking to Victor, all the way in the United States. Thank you so much to my friend and colleague, Yomi Omogbeja, that's ensured again that you can hear me, you can see me, and obviously spoken to Victor today. It's wonderful. Thank you so much to my co-host, my producer, Yomi, and thank you so much for everyone that's made comments today. All right. Thank you to Sandra Sylvester, you know, watching the show. See that Shane. Thank you so much. Put me on my hope. Thank you, Doreen. Sheung says, "Well done, guys. Keep the show going." Thank you, Sheung. And talk to me, talk to Sulaiman, Doreen Osmond, and everyone that's made comments on the show today. Thank you so much. Okay. Again, we're we're getting ready for Christmas. In London, we're on lockdown. Okay, but that's not going to stop the show. But we're on lockdown. We'll still continue. Christmas tree is just behind me, and we're getting ready. We're in the festive season. Don't forget, check on Instagram, all right, for the giveaway that is coming up next week, Sunday. So as I leave you today, Make sure you're safe. Okay, be safe wherever you go, whatever you do. All right, be safe. Have a very nice week, and don't forget to tell someone about the Way Show. Okay, see you next week. Have a good night. Thank you.